Well, hey you. I need to have a real talk with you. One of those honest, no-nonsense chats you might not want to hear. But damn it, you're my person, so I'll say it anyway. So listen up, because this is important. So, imagine this. Your mind is like a giant ancient library. Not the cozy kind with warm lights and comfy chairs, no. It's one of those crumbling, dusty vaults buried beneath a volcano. Every book, every scroll, every artifact inside is a memory, a regret, a version of who you used to be. And here's the kicker. You've been rummaging through it, pulling out the same old dusty tomes over and over, because somehow you think that's all you've got. Like a hoarder clutching broken clocks and faded photographs, clinging to relics that no longer serve you. But here's the twist. You're the one stacking those books. You're the one piling them higher and higher. It's like you're decorating your own funeral, building a mausoleum out of past failures, mistakes, heartbreaks. And all the while, you're standing in the middle of it, pretending it's a shrine of wisdom. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that shrine, it's just rubble waiting to fall down on your head. And I get it. Some of those books are heavy. Maybe they're stories about rejection, about falling flat on your face, about life kicking you in the teeth when you least expected it. But guess what? Carrying all that around is like walking with a dozen bowling balls tied to your ankles. Exhausting, pointless, and it's only making your back ache. That's the truth. You're dragging a load you don't need, and nobody's asking you to carry it. Not your friends, not your family, not even the universe. It's just you. And I'll be blunt. Those people who handed you that load, the ones who made you believe you're supposed to carry it forever, they're not your friends. They're like carnival magicians, making you believe they've got real magic. But in reality, they're just pulling tricks out of their hats to distract you, while they keep the strings in their hands. They want you to think you're weak, broken, stuck in the past. Because if you ever truly let go, if you finally said, enough, they'd lose their power over you. And they hate that. Now, let me ask you something. Why are you still sitting in the ruins of your old self? Why are you living among the crumbling walls of a castle long abandoned? It's like camping out in a haunted house, lighting candles made of regrets and broken dreams, pretending they're sacred relics. But here's the reality. Those relics? They're just wax melting in the sun. They're not sacred. They're trash. And you're the one burning yourself trying to preserve them. Think about it. The people who want you stuck in those ruins, they're like ancient statues in a forgotten city. They want you to believe you belong in the dust, in the shadows, in the cracks of what once was. Like a fossil buried deep beneath layers of dirt and time. They want you inert, unchanging, irrelevant. But you're not a fossil. You're a living, breathing organism, capable of growth, change, renewal. Here's the thing. The past is like a dead star. It shined brightly once, but now it's just a flickering ember in the night sky, useless for lighting your way forward. Dead stars don't teach you anything. They're just distant lights you stare at while the universe keeps spinning. And yet, some people cling to them like treasure. Sorry, but that's a fool's game. Holding on to the past is like trying to sail a boat with a broken rudder. You're just going in circles, bumping into the same old rocks. And what about those voices? The nagging ones in your head, whispering, "You're not enough. You'll never change. You're destined to be this way." They're like the background noise of a busy marketplace in Marrakesh. Loud, relentless, impossible to ignore. But here's a secret. Those voices aren't your friends either. They're street performers, shouting in your ear, desperate for attention, trying to convince you their version of reality is the only one. Well, I've got news for them. Change isn't betrayal. It's not rebellion. It's not treason. It's bamboo in a bamboo forest, bending in the wind, but never breaking. Resilient. Alive. And if someone can't handle that, if they can't see you grow and evolve, that's their problem, not yours. You're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're here to live your life, to bloom in your own time, in your own way. Now, picture yourself as a wild stallion on the vast plains of Mongolia. Those horses, they don't look back at the dust they kick up. They don't pause to admire the footprints they leave behind. They just run, full tilt, with the wind in their manes, because they know there's no point dwelling on what's behind. They're focused on what's ahead, the open sky, the endless horizon, the roar of adventure waiting just beyond the next hill. Be that horse. Shed the old skin like a snake shedding its scales. Leave behind the dead weight of who you were. It's not a badge of honor. It's a carcass slowing you down. You don't mourn it. You don't cry over it. You just let it go. Because holding on to it only keeps you stuck. And nobody ever moved forward by looking back. Well, I know what you're thinking. What if I screw up again? Listen, let me ask you. What's worse? Falling flat on your face? Or staying in the mud, pretending you're fine? People aren't sitting around with popcorn waiting for you to trip. Most of them are too busy worrying about their own mess. And even if they are watching, so what? You get up, brush yourself off, and keep going, because the only real failure is staying down forever. You're not a fragile sparrow anymore. You're a lion, a tiger, a creature with the heart of a conqueror. You've got the courage of a warrior in the Sahara, where the heat is relentless, and the only way to survive is to keep moving. That weak, apologetic version of yourself, it's just a shadow in the corner of the room, fading away as you step into the light of who you truly are. Keep trying to revive that old version, and you'll only drown in the smell of decay. The world? Yeah, it's a tough place. Like crossing the Gobi Desert without a drop of water. Brutal, unforgiving, and it doesn't care about your feelings or your history. It'll kick you while you're down, laugh at your struggles, and keep marching forward. But guess what? You've got a secret weapon. You're a phoenix rising from the ashes of your own destruction. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. When you rise, the world won't see it coming. They'll blink in disbelief, clutching their pearls, wondering how you managed to do it. And that's the point. They don't want you to succeed. They want you small, playing by their rules, accepting their idea of what you should be. But you're done with that. You're rewriting the script. You're the author of your own story now. Here's the reality check. You never really needed them. Those who turned away when you stumbled, who laughed when you fell, who watched you drown without offering a hand. They were never your allies. They were just spectators at a show, hoping for more drama. And you've been carrying their baggage, their opinions, their judgments, like a pack mule on the ancient Silk Road, burdened with useless trinkets and broken promises. Why? Why give them that power? Why let their opinions weigh down your wings? They don't deserve a single ounce of your energy. When was the last time you truly lived for yourself? Not to impress them, not to prove something, just for you. Maybe you can't remember, because you've been so busy trying to fit into their tiny boxes that you forgot how to open your own door. Well, enough of that. That stops today. You're not here to make anyone comfortable. You're here to be you. Raw, real, unstoppable. To tear down the walls they built around you, and to build your own kingdom. To be the storm that shakes the very ground beneath their feet. To be the moon that shines, even when the sky is dark. And if anyone objects, just smile. That slow, knowing smile of someone who's seen the edge and come back with stories they don't believe. Then look them in the eye and say, "Watch me." Because you're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving. You're evolving. You're taking up space in this world like you were always meant to. So go ahead. Be the hurricane that knocks over the trees in the Amazon. Be the wolf that howls at the full moon in the Siberian taiga. Be the tide that crashes against the rocky coast of Portugal. Because you're not just a passenger on this ride. No, no, no. You're the driver. And nobody, and I mean nobody, can take that away from you. Now remember this. You don't need their approval. You never did. Those who turned their backs when you needed a hand, they were just watching your back, secretly hoping you'd fail. But you're stronger than that. You're smarter, and you're more capable than you've ever believed. So, the next time you start doubting yourself, just picture that wild horse, that fierce lion, that phoenix rising. Feel the power thrumming in your veins, and then, with a grin, tell the world, "Watch me." Because you're not just a survivor. You're a warrior, a pioneer, a force of nature. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is going to hold you back anymore. But I still want to talk to you like I've been watching you wrestle with a ghost that refuses to leave your side. You know that ghost? The one that whispers every time you stumble, every time you doubt yourself, every what if and if only that keeps echoing in your mind. It's like you're stuck in a loop, playing the same slow, dull movie called The Never-Ending Show of My Failures. And honestly, nobody's coming to buy a ticket anymore. They're bored. You've got to change the channel. Here's the truth. You've spent so much of your life trying to be what they wanted you to be, that you forgot who you really are. It's like you've been wearing someone else's shoes, not the sleek, comfortable kind that fit just right. No, but those awkward, oversized boots from a costume shop. Scuffed soles, loose laces, holes in the toes. And you're walking around like you're about to walk a runway, pretending it's fashion. Spoiler alert, it is not. It's just a bad joke. Well, here's the good news. And yes, I mean good news. That phase ends today. Right now. You're not here to impress the crowd or fit into their tiny, suffocating boxes anymore. You're here to blow up the whole game, to rip up the instruction manual and start fresh with your own rules. Because honestly, the old rules, they're like a broken compass in the Sahara. They lead nowhere good. I see that fire in you. I really do. It's like a faint spark buried beneath layers of doubt, fear, guilt. Kind of like that last ember in an African tribal fire pit, stubbornly glowing, refusing to die, even when the night is cold and dark. That flame, it's not there for you to play with. It's there to forge you, to melt away everything weak and useless, and to turn you into something harder, sharper, unstoppable. That fire isn't your enemy. It's your secret weapon. So stop hiding it. Stop letting those around you pour water on it, smother it with their judgments, or tell you it's not worth it. Let it burn. Let it consume the past. Every lie you've told yourself, every painful memory, every regret weighing you down like a lead anchor. Because when that fire rages, only the truth remains. The real you, standing tall, resilient as a baobab tree in the heart of the African savanna. Unshaken by storms, unbothered by droughts. And here's another thing. The past, it's just a shadow cast by a passing cloud. It doesn't own you. Seriously. It's like a dusty old manuscript you found in a forgotten temple, full of stories that no longer matter. Your mistakes, your failures, their opinions. They're just background noise, like the gentle ripple of a river flowing through a quiet village in Nepal. You're the one composing the soundtrack. Every choice you make, every step you take after a fall, that's what shapes you. That's who you're becoming. But, and this is a big but, you can't keep living in that old story. You can't keep clutching that pain like it's a treasure. Newsflash, pain isn't a treasure. It's a trap. Like quicksand in the Amazon. The more you hold on, the deeper you sink. So, let it go. Drop it. Drop it like a mountain climber discarding their crampons at the summit of Everest. Rise above it. Rise into the person you were always meant to be. The one they never saw coming. Because you're not the same person anymore. And that's your ultimate superpower. Stop looking back. Stop living in the shadows of who you used to be. Step into the sunlight and show everyone what you're truly made of. And when you do, oh boy, they're going to get whiplash. They'll look at you like you're a stranger, someone who can't be tamed, manipulated, or broken. That's the best part. That's the ultimate revenge. Not petty revenge, but the kind that leaves them staring, speechless. Now, let's talk about this myth called closure. People love to toss it around like it's a magic wand. You need closure, they say. You need to forgive. You need to move on. Well, let me tell you something. Closure isn't some shiny potion that makes everything better. Some wounds don't close. Scars don't fade. And that's okay. That's part of your story. Those scars, they're proof you survived. Proof they couldn't break you, even when they tried. They threw their words, their silences, their sharp little jabs, all meant to shatter you. But no matter what, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still fighting. And yet, you're wasting so much energy on regret and what-ifs. Tell me, what good has it done? Rewinding the same painful moments like a broken record from the 80s, does that fix anything? Does it bring back the people you lost? Does it undo the mistakes you made? No. The past is a prison, and you're the one holding the keys. But instead of unlocking the door, you're sitting in the corner, staring at the walls, convincing yourself you belong there. Wake up! You're better than that. You're stronger than that. You're not the only one who's ever been hurt, betrayed, abandoned. Wake up. The world is full of people just like you. Broken, scarred, trying to find their way. The difference? Most of them stay stuck. They give up. They let their pain become their prison. But you have a choice. Stay in that cell or break out. Turn all that pain, anger, regret into fuel for your fire. Let it push you forward. Let it make you stronger, sharper, more resilient. Because that's what the past is. Raw material. The more you refine it, the brighter your future becomes. Here's the catch, though. Nobody's going to come with a box of matches and set you ablaze. You have to do it yourself. Take that hurt, that disappointment, and light the fuse. Burn it to the ground. Turn your pain into a phoenix, rising from the ashes of what once was, reborn, unstoppable. And from those ashes, you build something new, stronger than before, unbreakable. Because the people who hurt you, the ones who left you behind, who tried to drown you. They're too busy living their own lives, pretending you don't exist. They don't see what you're becoming. They think they've won. But what they don't realize? Every time they pushed you down, every time they threw dirt at you, they were sharpening you, making you into a weapon they'll regret underestimating. Because that's what you are. A force of nature, a storm that cannot be tamed, a wildfire that spreads faster than anyone can put out. But only if you let go of the past. Only if you stop dragging around the corpse of who you used to be and embrace the person you're becoming. You're not that scared kid anymore, the one afraid of what the world might do. No, no, no. The new you? You're fierce. You're unshakable. You have the steadiness of an ancient oak in a thunderstorm, the endurance of a desert cactus surviving 1,000 droughts, and the intensity of a lightning strike splitting the sky. The old you. The old you's dust. The old you's history. And that's exactly where the old you belongs. You see, the world doesn't owe you anything. Life doesn't care about your tears or your regrets. It will keep spinning, throwing punches, kicking dust in your face. But you've got a secret weapon. You're a warrior. You're a pioneer. You're the master of your own fate. And here's the thing. You don't need anyone's permission to be yourself. You don't need their approval, their applause, their validation. All you need is you, your strength, your truth, your fire. So when that voice inside whispers, "It's too late," or "You're too broken," just laugh. Because you've already survived worse. You've already endured storms that would have crushed others. And you're still standing, still fighting. Well, imagine yourself as a mountain in the Himalayas, towering, unyielding, carved by centuries of wind and snow, but still standing tall. That's you. You've weathered everything life threw at you. And guess what? The best is yet to come. Now, remember, you're not afraid of losing the past. What terrifies you? The unknown, the chaos, the possibility that you might fall again, the vast emptiness of what's ahead. But let me tell you a secret. The void isn't your enemy. It's your blank canvas, your new beginning, your open stage, your blank page. It's where everything is possible. And I know it's scary. I know it's uncertain. But the real magic, it happens when you step into that void with courage, with hope, with the knowledge that you're more than enough. You're more than your mistakes, more than your scars, more than your broken pieces. So, go ahead. Take that first step. Burn the old maps. Tear up the old scripts. Write your own story. Because the best chapters, they're still waiting to be written. By you. And for you. And no one, absolutely no one, can take that away. Now, You see that horizon? That glowing line where sky kisses land? That's your future. Bright, shimmering, calling you with the promise of freedom and new beginnings. But instead of moving toward it, you're standing there, rooted, stuck, watching the clouds roll in, paralyzed by a swarm of what-ifs. What if I stumble? What if I fall flat? What if I'm not enough? What if I'm just fooling myself? And the cruelest one, what if I finally succeed? Then what? That endless loop. It's like trying to cross the Atlantic in a paper boat during a hurricane, paddling furiously against the tide of doubt while thunder roars overhead. And those doubts? They're like monsoon clouds hanging over the Indian subcontinent. Heavy, dark, relentless, threatening to drown your courage, to flood your resolve, to make you forget that these storms are what turn arid land into lush fields, what fill rivers, what create life. Without the chaos, without the upheaval, without the unpredictable weather, the earth would stay barren. The storms shape the landscape. And maybe, just maybe, all the pain and chaos you've gone through, every heartbreak, every wrong turn, every sleepless night, was just the universe's way of preparing you for this moment. The moment where you realize the thing standing between you and your dreams is a leap into the unknown. But here's the catch. You won't discover what's on the other side unless you actually jump. Unless you decide those rusty old chains, the ones you've been dragging like trophies from a past life, are nothing but illusions. The past, it's like an abandoned temple buried beneath the shifting sands of the Sahara, long deserted, long forgotten. And yet, you keep digging up the ruins, trying to revive what's better left in the dust. Why? To punish yourself? To feel something? Anything? Even if it's just the sting of regret? Listen, regret is a slow-burning fire that eats away at your insides. Not the kind that knocks you out cold, but the one that smolders quietly, day after day, dulling your spirit, turning your heart into stone. And the worst part, you're the one fueling it, sip by bitter sip, convincing yourself you deserve every drop. But here's a truth you need to hear loud and clear. You do not. You didn't survive heartbreaks, storms, setbacks, just to drown in your own tears. You're tougher than that, stronger than that. And it's about time you start acting like it. Look around. Does the universe care about your mistakes, your failures, your moments of weakness? No. It's like the wind sweeping across the Mongolian steppe. It blows wherever it wants, shaping mountains, eroding valleys, transforming the land. It doesn't pause for tears or regrets. It just moves, indifferent, but mighty. The universe respects only one thing: resilience. The kind that bends without breaking, that rises after every fall, that keeps pushing forward no matter how many times life knocks you down. And that, my friend, is exactly what you are. A survivor, not a victim, not a ghost haunting your own life. Every scar, every bruise, every tear, they're proof you're still here, still fighting, still standing. And as long as breath fills your lungs, there's a chance, a real, honest chance to rewrite your story, to become someone nobody saw coming. But only if you decide to let go of the past. Only if you stop dragging around that old weight like it's some priceless artifact. Because pain is combustible fuel. It can either set your path ablaze or burn everything to the ground. The choice? It's yours. And let me be brutally honest. Living in yesterday's shadow isn't living at all. It's dying. Slowly. Painfully. Day after day. Until there's nothing left of you but a faint echo. You owe yourself better. You've got to stop staring in the rearview mirror and start focusing on the road ahead. The only way forward. The person you once were, that person's gone. Buried beneath the rubble of doubts and fears. Dead and buried. The person you're becoming, that person's a force of nature. Unstoppable. Shining brighter than ever. Only if you choose to release the clutch of what no longer serves you. Only if you decide the weight of regret and shame is not worth carrying. Because pain is like a fire roaring in the heart of a forest. It can warm your home or burn everything down. Your call. And here's the truth. If you keep holding on to yesterday, you're only prolonging your suffering. It's like trying to mend a torn sail with duct tape. Pointless, frustrating, temporary. Instead, take that regret and turn it into a compass. Like the Polynesian navigators who looked to the stars to find their way across the Pacific. Use your past mistakes as guiding lights, not anchors. They're signposts, markers of your journey. Proof you've traveled far, proof you can go even further. And here's a brutal fact. The world doesn't owe you a thing. Harsh? Maybe. But true. The wind in the Mongolian plains? It doesn't care if you're crying or smiling. It just blows, shaping the landscape, forging resilience in the hardest places. You're no different. You're the shipwrecked explorer stranded on a remote island, battered by storms, scarred by the waves, yet still clutching your compass, refusing to give up until you find your way home. So, what's your choice? The past or the future? Chains or wings? Ashes or fire? It's not complicated, but it's damn hard. Because stepping into the unknown means letting go of everything familiar, even if it's broken. It's like jumping into a vast river in the Amazon. Wild, unpredictable, full of surprises. You might get swept away. You might get soaked. You might even drown for a moment. But what if, just what if, you paddle through the rapids and find a hidden lagoon? quiet, full of sunlight, full of orchids. You'll never know unless you try. So, stop staring at that blank canvas like it's some curse from an ancient curse maker in Egypt. Pick up your brush, even if your hands tremble. Splash colors everywhere. Be messy, be wild, be unapologetically you, because that's what life is. A chaotic masterpiece you're still crafting. And if someone doesn't like it, well, that's their problem. Maybe they're too afraid to step out of their own black and white world, too scared to embrace the splash of color. Change is terrifying. I get it. Who wants to be a caterpillar when you could be a butterfly? But here's the truth. The caterpillar? She's kind of a slug. And slugs? They don't get much respect. Butterflies? They get to dance in the sunlight, sip nectar from blooming flowers, have their own fan clubs. Between the two, the cocoon stage, it's a messy, gooey nightmare. Nothing makes sense, and you'll want to give up. That's growth. That's life. If you want to become a butterfly, you've got to get comfortable with the gunk. And let's talk about regret again, because it's slippery as a fish. The more you squeeze it, the faster it slips through your fingers, leaving you empty-handed and hollow. It's like trying to hold on to a rainbow. Futile, fleeting, impossible to grasp. Better to release it. Let it drift away into the sky, and use your mistakes as a map. Like the Aborigines who navigate the vast Australian outback by the stars. Use your errors as guiding points, not chains. They're proof you've traveled far, survived storms, and are capable of going even further. So, what's the core message? You're not alone. Everyone's fighting battles, carrying scars, wrestling with doubts. The difference? The ones who thrive are the ones who get up after falling, dust themselves off, and keep walking. You have that strength. It's buried under layers of doubt, yes, but it's there, like a river beneath the frozen surface, waiting for the moment to burst forth. And I'll say this honestly. Life isn't a fairy tale with a perfect ending. It's a sprawling epic, messy, loud with chaos, bursting with colors. You're the hero, the one who stumbles, who falls, who makes mistakes, and keeps going. Because the only real failure is stopping altogether. Stop waiting for the stars to align. Stop waiting for fear to vanish. That's not going to happen. Fear? It's like the chorus of cicadas in the Vietnamese jungle. Loud, persistent, unavoidable. But it doesn't have to stop you. Your job? Take that leap. Splash your colors on the canvas. Paddle through the rapids. Shed the cocoon. Cut the nets. Stand tall in the storm. Because the unknown, it's not your enemy. It's your playground. Your blank page. Your chance to be more. More than you ever thought possible. Sit down. Yeah, I said sit. Yeah, I know. You think you're fine. You always think that. Humor me. And now listen. Because this isn't one of those chats where I tiptoe around the facts or sugarcoat what needs to be said. No. This is the kind of talk friends have when they've seen enough of life to know beating around the bush is a waste of time. It's time to face it. The only thing holding you back is you. Hey, you know what I've noticed about you? You keep standing at doors long after they're unlocked. You hold the handle. You stare at the hinge. You analyze the grain of the wood. And then you tell yourself you're not ready to open it yet. Not because it's locked, but because opening it means admitting you could have walked through hours ago. And yes, before you say it, I know you're being careful, you're being thoughtful, you're being responsible. Very noble, truly. But at this point, it's less wisdom and more procrastination dressed up in a philosophy degree. Here's the thing no one likes to say out loud. You don't actually need permission to move on. You're not waiting for a green light from the universe. You're waiting for relief from guilt. And guilt? Guilt is a terrible event planner. It never shows up on time, and it always ruins the party. You keep circling your past like it's a job interview you're still waiting to hear back from. Like maybe, if you replay everything one more time, you'll finally get a call back that says, "Congratulations, we've decided to forgive you." But that message, it doesn't come externally. It never has. And I care about you. So I'm going to be honest. At some point, revisiting the past stops being healing and starts being self-harm with better branding. You're treating old memories like cracked mugs in the back of the cupboard. You don't use them. They cut your lip when you try. But you refuse to throw them away because once upon a time, they held something warm. So instead, you let them collect dust, quietly bleeding into everything else. Let me say this plainly. You don't owe your past lifelong loyalty. It's not a person. It's not sacred. It did its job. Some lessons arrived. Some didn't. That chapter is closed. Not because it was meaningless, but because books don't apologize for turning pages. And don't roll your eyes. I can feel you doing it. You think letting go means pretending nothing hurt. You think it means betrayal of who you were, of what you survived. That's adorable and wrong. Letting go isn't erasing scars. It's just stopping the daily head count. Look, if survival were a passport, yours would be so stamped it'd barely close. You've crossed borders you never planned to visit. You've eaten meals you never imagined swallowing. You've learned entire emotional languages just to survive rooms other people felt comfortable in. That wasn't weakness. That was adaptation. But adaptation is not meant to be permanent housing. Right now, you're still living like you're in emergency mode. Like the ceiling might cave in any second. Like peace is suspicious. Like stability is just chaos taking a coffee break. No wonder you're exhausted. You've been gripping your life the way people grip railings on a boat that's already docked. White knuckles, shallow breath, muscles locked. Meanwhile, the water is calm. The engine is off. and you're still bracing for impact that isn't coming. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. At what point did suffering turn into proof of worth for you? Don't answer too fast. Somewhere along the way, you decided that if you stopped hurting, you'd lose legitimacy. Like ease would invalidate your resilience. Like only pain could certify your depth. It's a very poetic lie. Also, a stupid one. Strength isn't about how much weight you can drag forever. It's about knowing when to set it down without writing a dissertation defending the decision. And yeah, I know. People watched you. People remember you struggling. People built a version of you in their heads that only exists under pressure. And now that pressure is easing. They're uneasy. That's not your problem. Some people only know you in survival mode. When you stop bleeding in front of them, they don't recognize you anymore. It makes them nervous. Not because you're changing, but because their role in your story is shrinking. You were useful when you were predictable, quiet, apologetic, over-explaining, grateful for crumbs. Now you're standing upright, asking questions, saying no without attaching a PowerPoint presentation. Terrifying, I know. Growth does that. It rearranges furniture in rooms where people liked knowing where everything was. And listen, this part matters. Not everyone who resists your change is evil. Some are just scared. Some invested in the old version of you the way people invest in outdated software. It still works for them, so why upgrade? But you're not a tool. You're not an appliance. And you don't exist to remain compatible with other people's comfort. Here's where I get a little sarcastic, lovingly. You don't need to become louder, or harsher, or colder. You don't need to announce your transformation with a thunderclap and a new wardrobe. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to stop explaining yourself like you're on trial. Seriously, half the people you're trying to convince already made up their minds. The other half? They weren't paying attention anyway. You're wasting emotional energy auditioning for audiences that don't deserve front row seats. And yes, before you ask, it is going to feel lonely at first. Growth usually does. It's like switching time zones emotionally. Your internal clock resets faster than your surroundings. You wake up early. Everyone else is still asleep. For a while, it feels like isolation. It's not. It's alignment catching up. You're not losing people. You're shedding roles. Roles like the fixer, the emotional storage unit, the strong one who never asks, the understanding one who understands themselves into a corner. You don't have to burn those roles in a dramatic bonfire. Just stop clocking in. And here's the part you really need to hear. Lean in if you have to. You are not dangerous because you're angry. You're dangerous because you're calm. Because clarity doesn't beg. Because self-trust doesn't flinch. Because when you finally decide who you are, chaos loses leverage. Well, think of it like this. You used to be an open market. Everyone bargained. Everyone touched the goods. Everyone had an opinion on your value. Now, you're a private vault. Quiet, locked, selective access. Same gold inside, just protected. That shift? That scares people. They liked you better when they could read you easily, when you reacted predictably, when guilt worked like a password. Now you pause. You choose. You don't rush to fill silence. You don't panic when someone is disappointed. That's not cruelty. That's adulthood with a spine. And just between us, you're funnier now too. Turns out peace comes with better timing, sharper jokes. Look at you. Still here, still breathing, still curious. You didn't vanish when things got hard. You adapted, you learned, and now, shockingly, you're allowed to enjoy the result. I know part of you thinks joy has a cost. Like if you relax, the bill will arrive later. That happiness is a loan with brutal interest. That was true once, when safety was temporary. It isn't anymore. You're not tempting fate by being at peace. You're just finally paying attention to where you are, instead of where you were nearly crushed. And I swear to you, this matters. Your future doesn't require you to stay loyal to your wounds. Wounds are teachers, not landlords. You don't have to live where you learned. So, here's what I want you to do. Not metaphorically, literally. Next time the past shows up uninvited, don't argue with it. Don't explain yourself. Don't spiral. Just nod, like you recognize an old neighbor, and keep walking. You don't need to convince the past you're done. Time already knows. And if anyone asks who you are becoming, don't rush to answer. Let them watch. Let them notice how you don't flinch like you used to, how you don't chase, how you don't shrink, how your no sounds calm instead of sharp, how your yes feels deliberate instead of desperate. That version of you, the one who sleeps better, laughs quieter, chooses slower, walks taller without announcing it. That's the real evolution. Not loud, not violent, not fiery. Stable, unmovable, clear. And I'm proud of you. Not for what you survived, but for what you're finally allowing yourself to become. Now breathe. You're not late. You're right on time. So go ahead, take that step, light that fire, walk into the storm, because the real adventure begins when you stop holding back and start living the life you're meant to live. And trust me, the universe is just waiting for you to show it what you've got. Take care.